This full moon in Libra is kind of showing people like how far they've come on this journey of the different types of extents that you have gone through to please other people and to be liked and be loved by others, and where you are at with your sense of self and how you feel about you when you're alone. And what was coming through on the Twitch stream was, you know, we have this epidemic of like overgiving people pleasers who now have become these kind of like salty urchins that never want to share a dime of their energy, or who've become like pessimistic and jaded because all they can smell is like the foulness of everything that they were trying to cover up and overcompensate for. Hi everyone, it's Pixie. I really wanted to make a video talking about, alongside this full moon in Libra, the sun is going to be conjunct Chiron in Aries. Full moon is like a culmination of things. So this marks a completion or a insight or realizations and final realizations of a journey that you have probably been on for quite some time. And although you might not be a Libra, and you might not even have like any Libra placements, any Libra planets, no 7th house placements, this still might come into effect for you. So the sun conjunct Chiron in Aries, people right now might be really confronting abandonment wounds, and how feeling alone or fearing being abandoned might get you or keep you in cycles where you are people pleasing, overgiving, fearful, and scared about disrupting the harmony of other people. I think Libra energy gets really well encapsulated by those moments in your life where you overgive, overplease, and become very nice, kind, polite, pretty to overcompensate for somebody else's unwillingness to give back. And I don't know if this is just the community, you know, and the people that I have seen, but I feel like this full moon in Libra is kind of highlighting this point where people have been through a long time where they have really done a lot to keep the peace and done a lot to maintain a sense of harmony, even when it's not really being reciprocated by the environment or by the people. And people always having this internal sense of, oh, that's out of place, oh, that's out of place, or that doesn't feel good. And they take on the sole responsibility to be the one who balances out the scale of that situation. And they burn out from it. They compromise their self, Aries, the opposite of Libra. They compromise their sense of self. They compromise their own instincts to always be acting as this cosmic harmonizer of everybody else's energy or everybody else's feelings, or making sure everybody else feels pleasant, making sure everybody feels good. And if you have natal Libra placements, like a Libra rising, a Libra sun, a Libra moon, you might, more than most people, or heavy 7th house placements. When I say heavy, I just mean like a few planets in there. You might have, more so than other people, this innate tune-in and sense of what's in harmony and what's out of harmony, what's in balance, what's out of balance. And because you are the one who feels it, I honestly feel like sometimes it's the natural right thing to do, it feels like, to be the one who harmonizes that, who tries to create the balance in a space that's unbalanced. And this includes too, you know, other people's emotions, other people's insecurities. You can be, you know, the coddler, the caretaker, the one who makes people feel good, the listener, the the one that people speak to. Again, anything that helps others create a sense of harmony. Libras make great therapists, great listeners. They're good at advice. They're good at seeing both sides of the coin. But I have seen almost like an epidemic almost of people who become this harmonizer, people pleaser, overgiver, at the detriment of their own self, don't feel like themselves, don't feel like they have a backbone, don't feel like they have confidence, maybe don't even know who they are away from other people, and maybe even these people get to the point where they're so burnt out and so sensitive to the needs of other people, to the imbalances. That's the key word. Imbalances of other people. And they can no longer afford to be this catering service to bring every single person harmony. Because again, the opposite of Libra is Aries. And that's about balancing the two. Libra energy has its goodness. It's just when it's out of balance, it becomes, destructive and toxic and feels bad. And Aries on the other side too, which is the opposite of Libra, which again, like, we're actually going to be, you want to hit a nice middle point between Aries and Libra. Aries is about taking instincts and being independent and looking after ourselves. So the epidemic is people being burnt out from people pleasing, compassion fatigue, always overgiving, always trying to balance out a system. Because then you've got Libra's association with the Justice card and what is right in this world. We kind of have like a messed up, imbalanced world in many different ways. And it's the right thing to do is to, try and become an agent of harmonizing that bad world. And we all have to do that, though. We all have Aries individually. We have to use our own autonomy and instincts and actions to, bring harmony. And that doesn't mean we overgive and harmonize at the detriment of ourselves. It's all in balance. And there's this epidemic of burnout, overgivers with compassion fatigue who have had their instincts hijacked by this dysregulated, unbalanced, unharmonious environment, society. I don't know how deep layers you want to get into this, but you can just take this for your own personal life. Had their instincts hijacked and now are in a situation where, or had been in situations where they no longer really feel like they can have relationships because, they don't feel like themselves anymore. Their Aries self, instincts, actions, sense of self have kind of been like a little bit wobbly and a little bit hijacked. And they almost have to just isolate so that they don't repeat this burnout cycle. And some of you may have retreated and had your, your phase where you've taken care of yourself and pulled away from these scenarios where you overgave or, always wanted to stay pleasant and pretty, all the Libra associated things, being harmonious, being pleasant, being beautiful. In many ways, it's air. It's not physical. This is air. This is about an experience that people have of us as well. And it's damaged people's ability to be able to like have good relationships because they don't have a strong sense of self and they're always so tuned in because we're not perfect. So we can't, like, this is the thing with Libra. Like, Libra does sometimes want perfection of, like, you can't always strike a perfect harmony. But you can be in harmony with the truth of nature. And you can be in harmony and harmonize with both, with the different sides of life. And I think that this full moon in Libra It's kind of showing people like how far they've come on this journey of whatever I've just said, because that just all came out of my mouth. and maybe the different types of extents that you have gone through to please other people and to be liked and be loved by others, and where you are at with your sense of self and how you feel about you when you're alone. And what was coming through on the Twitch stream was, you know, we have this epidemic of like overgiving people pleasers who now have become these kind of like salty urchins that never want to share a dime of their energy, or who've become like pessimistic and jaded because all they can smell is like the foulness of everything that they were trying to cover up and overcompensate for. And there's a balance between those two things. As we age, as we go through experiences, and as we mature, and this is a very Saturnian thing, but Saturn and Libra, they work well together. As we age and mature, like we do kind of become somewhat weathered by life. We don't have the same rose-tinted glasses and optimism and love for the idea of people. And sometimes we can go too far left field with that and, you know, become very shut down, very isolated, very critical, judgmental, because, you know, we have these scales of Libra. This is all Libra talk of, you know, weighing people up, and you're weighing people up against a lot of your past experiences. And then we can judge ourselves for wanting to try to do the right thing. We're trying to do the right thing. That's what Libra's trying to do, is trying to do the right thing. Even though sometimes it can be imbalanced. Again, like if you've been hurt, if you've been wounded, if you've had your heart broken, if you've been betrayed, whatever negative relationship experiences you've had, you're always going to be unconsciously weighing that up with people. And also you're going to be doing your own thing to try and compensate for that as well. So it's complicated. It's not easy, and it's not straightforward. And this is the thing. It's like Libra's own energy of wanting to like just be light and just have fun becomes this sometimes like a complicated like weighing of the scales. Like, oh my god, there's like so many different things that I can put on these scales because it exists. And this full moon in Libra, I think, is going to show people, you know, how to find and feel truly balanced and find their own true harmony, because we cannot weigh every single thing in the entire world on our scales. There are things that are going to be right for you and only you. There are things that are going to be right for you and only you. And there are things that are going to make you feel pleasant and good. And there's going to be ways that people harmonize with that. And this is kind of entering into a little bit of a new era, especially with the Sun conjunct Chiron. There's a bit of a new era of, I'm no longer afraid to be abandoned if I only prevent that by abandoning myself to please other people. I'm entering a new era of, I recognize my instincts for when I am about to be fake or be too nice at the detriment of my own power and who I am. And, you know, Aries has this, you know, it's a ram, you know, it can headbutt people. Libra doesn't want to headbutt people. It wants everyone to have a good time. And there's a balance between the two, and it's about what's right for you. And something that came through on a pick a card I did recently on my channel, I can't remember what pick a card it was. I think it was about like messages for your life path right now. The Justice card came out, and it had this message of all of us follow these internal laws. We all have our own internal justice system. And sometimes that involves like a very strict regime of punishment and a system that people go through. Like when somebody hurts us, it's like, okay, well, did they do this and did they do that and did they do this, and we start weighing up, you know, things. And also with that too, we all have laws that we want to follow, but sometimes those laws aren't always what's right for us. And I think an example of this would be, you might have an inner law that you follow, that you want to follow, that you feel is the right thing to do, is to be kind and giving to every person that you meet. And that Libreville, ooh, yes, beautiful. That's great. That looks beautiful. That's so beautiful. But then when you start weighing that law against different circumstances and different situations, it can sometimes no longer become right for you. If somebody is being, rude, passive aggressive, disrespectful, mean, hurtful to you, and you struggle with your self-esteem, then this is not a situation where that law that you feel is so right for you to follow becomes compatible or harmonious with the situation that you're actually dealing with. So this full moon in Libra, it is about finding our new balance, finding new, I don't know if it's like new compromises, because I almost feel like compromise is a dirty word for people. Like I feel like it's like become a dirty word in like people pleaser circles. But I mean like new ways of being like, hey, like this law doesn't really work for where I am right now. This belief that I carry and try to follow needs to be a bit more flexible. It needs to adapt a little bit more. And there were some keywords. So this full moon is happening, the full moon in Libra is happening at 16 degrees of Libra. And in the Sabian symbols, it talks about how this relates with surrender, balancing, adjustment, agreement, and saying yes to things. And funnily enough, the degree before was about saying goodbye to things. And I think I almost kind of got this sense that we should look at both of them and find ourselves in the middle. And so you might be feeling like, what am I saying goodbye to? And what am I now saying yes to? And exploring new ways to enjoy things, exploring new types of emotions towards how we feel good about things, what we want to love. I feel like, again, I would not be surprised if, and this is how it feels for me, like there's just been this period of time where we've experienced both opposites, endless compromising and maybe even daydreaming in ways, like having this, I don't know, this rose-tinted glasses view of it, to like salty urchin hermit, never giving you an ounce of anything, and I don't trust no one. And I think we've been through both now. And now it's like, now we find the harmony. And the important thing is too, with this sun in Aries, this speaks of, Chiron is the wound. It is the wound. It's the wounded healer. And there is kind of a bit of a choice here of like, do we want to heal this? And do I want to own this? Or do I want to suffer because of it? So there's an opportunity. If you find yourself really resonating with the dynamics of this, there's nothing wrong with being a kind person. And you can find your way to become a kind person in this world. Because not everyone is a kind person. There will be people who are trying, they've got issues. People have got issues. They will be trying to subtly chip you down, push you down. And also too, this is about recognizing your own inner voices and your own inner judgments too, because sometimes you're going to go through situations where maybe somebody doesn't text you back, or maybe somebody doesn't give you the validation that you were secretly seeking and weren't aware that when you took an instinct, your instincts to take action were actually the instincts to seek validation, but you didn't know. These are situations where you are coming to recognize what's the influence of other people? What's the influence of yourself in terms of instincts and validation and feeling good about yourself? These are the main themes. And as the sun conjuncts Chiron, we are going to be shown if we do have any abandonment wounds, if we do have fears of being alone, if we do feel like we can't take action in the ways that we want to, and in the way that we feel good about, how can we mend that? How can we heal that? What relationships of ours are supporting our actions? And maybe even for some of you, how do you internalize other people's energy or other people's reactions and responses as things that hurt your self-esteem? And how can you become more in power and in charge of that? Because this is the thing too, like, people can try to influence you, but in true Aries energy, like, you get to decide what passes through the gates. And it's funny because I got this new deck. It's absolutely beautiful. And I pulled a card of boat. And it was basically saying that regardless of the tides that you go through, regardless of the weather that you go through, it's important that you patch up your boat. And that as long as you sit in your boat, the boat will rise with the water regardless of the weather. And you have to notice who's putting holes in your boat. And some of this is going to be actively other people, right? There is a situation that I've just come out of where for years, somebody was just making really like crappy comments consistently. And the Libra energy of me was like, oh, like, and this is the thing, you don't have to be a Libra to like embody the essence of wanting to harmonize something and, you know, rationalize and want to be hopeful and see the other side of the coin and, oh, maybe they didn't mean that. Like, the zodiac, the 12 signs are archetypes that are happening all around us. Astrology is something that you can start to like live and breathe and see everywhere. And you don't have to be a Libra to have that type of dynamic happen. Libra placements might have that as a more dominant experience because it's part of their karma and their energetic imprint. But everybody, you know, we're all made of stars. You know, like we're all under the influence, like of not even under the influence, but there is a connection as above, so below. And anyway, I digress. So what's putting holes in your boat? Who is putting those holes in your boat? Including, you know, is this really something that you can like, is this what other people are doing? And how are other people making you feel versus like, you know, how maybe sometimes your internal saboteur and your inner sabotager is taking in information in order to hurt itself. I'm just going to read this boat card and just see if there's like anything I'm missing from it that wants to come through because I'm being told. So it says, mastering others is strength, but mastering yourself is true power. Your boat will sink only by allowing water in from the outside. Regardless of any storm on the horizon, unless you allow the waves to fill your boat or create holes within your boat itself, you will rise. Don't misinterpret the weathers or the waters as anything other than the environment you might be currently sailing through, so don't take it personally. In the time the tide will settle, the clouds will part, and the sun will rise and shine again. Nothing is permanent and nothing is introduced into your life by an accident. Every drop of water or push in a new direction is the universe guiding you to a deeper understanding. The storm is the teacher and is here to remind you to keep your peace in your boat and be the observer. And the mantra is, I trust the direction of the universe and maintain peaceful awareness through all conditions. And that the sun being conjunct Chiron right now, like y'all might be getting really triggered and upset and sad about yourself, your life, because Aries is you. It's you. It's your instincts. It's how you feel about you. So a lot of self-esteem issues might be coming up right now. You might even be feeling totally like doom gloom about if there is even a direction for you in this life. Flip side of the coin, get inspired to start taking action about, you know, like, I want to do this in my life, actually. And this is a really key time to, like, I don't want to say sink or swim, but that's what's coming through. And I don't know. Sometimes it's like, I don't know. I know for some wounds, it's like I can hear it reply like, oh, like, you know, sink or swim, like, that's so toxic for certain things. And maybe that's just not your medicine, or maybe there's a way that you can like transmute that into something that can be a little bit more empowering to you, rather than something that's like sticking it where it hurts. Because, you know, I'm sure you all know that's like not my intention to, you know, belittle people's fucking wounds. Like, I'm a Pisces sun. Like, I get it. Like, I'm a Chiron in the first house. I get it. Like, being very highly connected to your wounds, like, it can stop you and they can trap you and keep you stuck, but it's so vital for you to transform them, because it's no way to live. It's really no way to live, constantly being restricted and trapped and unable to express the fullness of you and the fullness of your life path, whilst, you know, you're always like in these binds of complex emotions. So I don't even know if I really I kind of covered the full moon in Libra, kind of covered the sun conjunct Chiron. Okay, I'm gonna do a small breakdown of how this Libra full moon might be affecting a particular area of your life. So please look at where 16 degrees of Libra is. I was going to try and do this through rising signs, but it doesn't really work because it's pretty much the halfway point of Libra and it might not be accurate. So look at where 16 degrees of Libra is, and we'll go through it. So if 16 degrees of Libra is in your first house, this full moon is giving you a completion about how you feel about yourself, the way that you feel pleasant in your body, your own self-esteem, and how easy it is for you to step in and take actions when you're alone. This isn't about you needing to have other people hold your hand to be the strong one. This is about you finding your effortless and elegance in independence and feeling peaceful with that. If 16 degrees of Libra is in your second house, you're going to be having realizations about what it is that you do for money. What are the types of things that you do to make people feel good in your job, as a way to financially provide for yourself, or in ways that you get stability. There is something with the Libra full moon in your second house is saying that you might try to make people feel pleasant as a way to make you feel secure. And this is about finding ways to build your own self-esteem and self-value in the fact that you are a pleasant, good person to be around. You don't need to overgive in order to get people to like you. If it's happening, if 16 degrees of Libra is in your third house, then this is about the way that you speak, the way that you think, your immediate surroundings, and your siblings. So this could be new harmony coming in for you with your siblings. This can be as well that you might be a bit of a gossip, or you might talk or compromise the way that you speak in order for other people to like you. And maybe you only talk about subjects that you think other people want to hear, rather than saying the things that you want to talk about that might be a little bit more philosophical or out there, or, you know, a little bit more meaningful. If Libra 16 degrees is in your fourth house, this is about the things that you do to keep the harmony in your household, in your home. And also, too, maybe you are stepping into new ways of embracing your femininity and your emotions, and how some of your people-pleasing patterns may have originated from your early childhood life. If Libra full moon is happening in your fifth house, then this could be a highlight of you embarking on new romantic relationships, and maybe coming to terms and finding a balance and a new identity with what it is that you're attracted to, and the things that make you feel confident and special, feeling more pleasant in your confidence, rather than always adapting how loud or not loud you are based on how other people feel. Speak up anyway. People love you. If Libra 16 degrees is in your sixth house, this is in terms of service and of work. This is the house of your daily chores and what you do to be helpful. So recognize that some of your people-pleasing patterns, if you have any, might be just what you think is helpful to do. But sometimes what is truly helpful is to say the truth. And you are, with that, you with your Libra energy, it is a natural harmonizer. So this isn't about being rude, but this is about sometimes what is helpful is to say the truth, but in a kind way. If this Libra 16 degrees is happening in your 7th house, this is your house of relationships and partnerships and like one-to-one connections. This will probably be more important for you with your relationships. And the whole reading that we did before about what Libra full moon is highlighting, you know, you might feel this to the nth degree more than most people. So you might be ending relationships that just do not appreciate you, that do not love you for who you are. You're saying no more to people-pleasing patterns you want to be given back to. No more one-sided relationships. And if you're the one that, you know, you went through your salty urchin phase who does not want to give to anybody, now is going to be a time where you realize that if you want love in your life, then you are going to have to be somebody that's a little bit more giving if you're somebody who hasn't been. If this Libra 16 degrees is happening in your 8th house, then this is about maybe you sometimes feeling like it's the most powerful thing to do is to like play that people pleaser role, or maybe it's because you feel powerless. The 8th house is a bit of a weird of an extreme, so it's either you do it to have power or you do it to feel because you feel powerless. You do it out of fear. The 8th house as well is the kind of like grueling things that we feel like we have to do. And that there is more like severe consequences if we don't do them. It's originally and traditionally the house of like love, death, and taxes. But these are the things I feel like, you know, if we really pick under the belly of things, it's like, this is kind of, you know, there's so many different taboos that it touches on. So Libra full moon, you might be exploring kink in your sexuality and feeling more good about your weirdness, not weirdness, your boldness, your passions, your sexuality, the things that you might feel like are a turnoff for other people. And maybe you might be realizing with this full moon being in your 8th house is like, you know, I'm sick of pretending that I'm not like a deep, powerful person who's into taboo subjects. And I'm sick of like just being nice because I'm afraid that if I'm not, then I'm going to disgust people and turn them off. There is something really beautiful when Libra actually blends with that Scorpio energy in your 8th house. If the Libra 16 degrees is happening in your 9th house, this might be you reassessing your philosophical beliefs, your spiritual beliefs, and what you are willing to do or to try in order for you to heal, I would say more more spiritual beliefs that you have. And maybe, you know, the Libra full moon 9th house is like, maybe sometimes people come to you with like lots of different political opinions and, you know, their morals, and you vibe with like pretty much, it's like somebody can give you one viewpoint and then somebody else gives you the exact opposite and you agree with both. And I feel like this is kind of you owning your ability to understand the core foundations and finding the things that do harmonize with you. And you don't have to pretend to be into things that you're not into. I hope that makes sense. For Libra full moon in the 10th house, this is affecting your career, your reputation, how you feel about your reputation. This could be people pleasing in order to keep a good reputation, or feeling like you always have to people please in your workplace because you are afraid of losing your status because of that. So there is a way to, like, you'll be finding your way to harmonize with that. If it's happening in your 11th house, this is your house of friendships, of networking, of groups. Again, this is finding what you truly stand for in maybe your political views, especially counter or what things that you say you agree with, or maybe the things you don't speak up on because you don't think it's like acceptable for the general consensus of like the group. And this might be about you finding new groups that are a little bit more in alignment with you. If this is happening in your 12th house, this could be showing you, if you are Libra 12th house, this is showing you, or a time of you needing, I would say like maybe realizing that you do need to take action about healing your psyche, healing your spiritual self, connecting more with spirit, or finding a spiritual path that, or deepening your spiritual path. Because the thing is, if you're a Libra 12th house, you're a Scorpio rising, and Scorpio risings do have this huge potential to be like very deep about life and about how they experience things and experience the nitty-gritties. But Libra 12th house is like, but sometimes they just want to keep their spirituality pleasant, or their spirituality just a balancing buffer tool, rather than really wanting to heal some of the real issues that they have subconsciously. So this could be, you know, you starting to heal and feel out past life issues, unconscious issues, and understanding more about your spiritual journey and spiritual path, and finding, you know, I would say like a sense of purpose and direction again, without having it be something that pleases other people. You know, it has to be for you. But anyway, I know this was a short one for the houses, but if you would like a personal reading with me, my readings are open. It's going to be VIP night soon. So if you're a Patreon of mine who is pledged over $20, I'll be doing some readings on Twitch for you guys this month. It's usually, I kind of have been doing this like what is like a card of the month for you, but depending on how many people join the queue, you know, we might do like a few readings. But yeah, if you'd like to learn more about astrology from me, you resonate with what I say, go check out Patreon. That is like a huge way that people can come support me, and what I do here. I also make extra content there. It's basically turned into like a whole ass astrology library. I specialize in astral healing and the astral realms, and navigating the astral realms, and using astrology and what it teaches you about life and the functions of life and energy to better yourself, to heal yourself, to understand who you are at deeper levels. And, you know, this Aries conjunct Chiron is actually happening in my 8th house, and I had to really work through some stuff about, I was so scared to like initiate making this video, and it was like, oh my god, I don't want to do it, but I'm glad that I did. But yeah, anyway, if you want to hang out more, if you want to, you know, get to know me, subscribe, like the video, and, you know, yeah, go check out the links below for relevant things. I usually stream on Twitch. That's like my main thing right now, but yeah, things are kind of changing. So I want to be a little bit more active on YouTube. But yeah, anyway, I hope this video helps, and please take care of yourselves during, you know, it's quite a monumental time. So, you know, make space for a cry on the couch. Make space for hot chocolate and blankies, and, you know, processing young self feelings of abandonment and loneliness, and how that creates compulsive tendencies to people please and just want to be loved and accepted, and start loving and accepting yourself. Okay, cool. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.